We believe that this team is up to the task and will deliver on the mandate. Regarding the timeline, we will conduct our work with a timeline in mind. Should the need arise for an extension, that is something we will address at the right time. And I underline here, should the need arise. We assume that those gathered here today are aware of the content of the terms of reference. Thus, we will not regurgitate them. A copy of the terms of reference will be distributed with this briefing. We will highlight only a few issues. The entities and persons that we must investigate are the South African Police Service, the Metro Police of the 3 Gauteng metros, the National Prosecuting Authority, the State Security Agency, the Judiciary, Correctional Services, any other institution in the criminal justice system, and any member of the executive responsible for the criminal justice system. These entities and persons are to be investigated in relation to infiltration of law enforcement, intelligence, and associated institutions within the criminal justice system by criminal syndicates. We also want to highlight the fact that by the end of the first 3-month period, we want to be in a position to submit an interim report which, if the evidence will have shown as much, will make recommendations regarding concrete action that needs to be taken. The rules of the Commission, which will govern its procedures, will be published in due course. As a general rule, the public will have access to the Commission hearings, which will also be live streamed. The default rule is that the media and public will be able to attend all hearings of the Commission, save as directed otherwise by the chairperson. One matter that is in the public domain, which is certainly of public interest, is litigation brought before the Constitutional Court challenging the establishment of the Commission, amongst others. Part of the relief sought is an interdict that the Commission processes should not go ahead. We will abide any decision made by the court, whether with regard to an interim interdict or the final relief that the court will grant. That is the end of the briefing. Thank you very much.
All right, members of the media, we're going to take questions. I think we'll take 5 at a time. Please identify yourself, your media house, and try to keep it tight. I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. There's a roving mic. Just use the mic, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Karen Ward from News 24. I'm just, in reference to terms of reference 15, the Commission shall ensure the protection of potential witnesses and witnesses. Are you not concerned? I mean, that's an extraordinary term of reference. I don't think it was part of Zondo. I think there's always an understanding that you will do the best that you can. But this seems to be quite a strong requirement on the Commission in circumstances where if the Lieutenant General's allegations are to be believed, you're dealing with organized crime. Is that not a concern, that you're placing yourself under that level of obligation? And then second of all, you mentioned that it is a default position for these hearings to be open, and there are certain exceptions made in regards to protection of witnesses and investigations, etc., etc. But with the Zondo inquiry, we saw that in relation to protection of witnesses, the in-camera element meant that the witnesses just weren't identified. Can you clarify whether in the same circumstances we will still have access to that evidence? Will we still be able to hear the witness evidence and they just won't be identified? Or is there any scenario in which the media and the public is kept out of this inquiry entirely? Thank you.
All right, thanks, Karen. So, second hand there.
Afternoon, Oren here from Eyewitness News. Just two questions on my end. First and foremost, do we have a cost factor to this commission? How much is it going to cost, and has a budget been allocated to it? Are you aware of a figure yet? And the second one, I know we're still in early days here, and you said that the consultation with the first possible witness is imminent. But do you have a sort of figure to how many people are going to be called as witnesses to testify in this commission as of yet?
All right, thank you. Superman.
Sibamandla Koke from EMCA, thank you very much. I'm covered.
All right. Lady back there.
Zara Kruneval from SABC, and I've been covered as well, thank you.
All right.
Linda Mbuyiseli, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Linda Mbuyiseli from Newsroom Africa. In terms of 10.2 of the terms of reference, the power to conduct search and seizure operations subject to applicable law, I mean, how are you going to go about that? Will it happen, in the commission? Given that the proceedings will be live streamed, are you not concerned about perhaps orders that you will give, which may notify people about search and seizures that you may conduct? And secondly, about the point, Karen touched on it a bit, in camera and protecting witnesses. What is the criteria that you're going to use there? Because people may want to give this commission information, but they may not necessarily be in danger. So what criteria are you going to use there? Thank you.
All right, thanks very much. We'll take it. Justice Madlanga will indicate who he wants to deal with what. Chair.
Just the terms of reference, please. Yes. The terms of reference must be interpreted in conjunction with the regulations which are close to being, in fact, interpreted in accordance with the provisions of the Act first, and then the regulations as well, which touch on that, as also the rules. If we look at Clause 15 of the Terms of Reference, the Commission shall ensure the protection of potential witnesses and witnesses. All proceedings may be held in public or in private as the chairperson deems necessary. We are, for example, in the process of crafting the Commission rules, and there we have mentioned, and we hope that this will become final. There we have a provision that says that on application to the chairperson, hearings may not be in public. That will be taking into account issues of the safety, amongst others, of witnesses. Then moving on to the question of there being no access at all. There are issues that will relate to, or possibly will relate to, matters of state security, even documents that should not readily serve in the public domain. With regards to those, it may well happen that there may not be access to those documents. But the idea, as much as possible, is to be transparent and make the South African public to have access to documents. And even regarding the point that I made earlier about applications being made to me as the chairperson, where someone does not want to testify in public, that is not something I will grant readily. I will look very closely at each and every application, bearing in mind the need for transparency, especially with regard to serious allegations like those that we have before us. So I will not readily just close access or opt for an option that makes the process not transparent. Then the question of the budget. It's very difficult to give specifics in this regard because the budget is provided by the government, and in law, the government department responsible for running commissions of inquiry is the Department of Justice. So details regarding the budget are best directed to the Department of Justice. And how many witnesses to call? It is early days. We cannot say at this stage. We have not even had the first consultation. It is the first consultation that will give us an idea of the ground that needs to be covered. But even after that first consultation, we will not be in a position to say, now, this is the sum total of the witnesses that we are going to, or rather the commission is going to hear. The number of my cryptic notes, I can't even read them now. If I've skipped your question, you will maybe just raise it again. And regarding the question of searches and people being notified through the evidence that will be led that they are, so to speak, in the firing line and thus thwarting whatever may otherwise have been achieved through search and seizure processes. Unfortunately, there is nothing we can do about that because evidence has to be given. And if in a sense that evidence tends to alert people that they may well be searched down the line, there is nothing we can do about that because otherwise it would mean that no evidence should be led at all. And then criteria regarding the protection of witnesses. I think it's just a question of assessing the situation of each and every witness and deciding whether protection will be necessary. Thank you.
Okay, I trust that that covers those, but if there are follow-ups, please go for it. Karen, there's 1, 2, Linda. Any other questions? 3? We'll take a batch of 5. Okay, that seems to be it. Karen?
Sorry, DCJ. Just in response to that question about the protection of witnesses, is it not an innate difficulty of this process that you're essentially dealing with allegations that actually impugn the very people that you would normally turn to for protection of witnesses? So do you now have a scenario in which you're potentially going to have to get private security, or what do you, or you know, like what do you do in those circumstances? And then I'm going to just sneak in a question. Sorry, Jeremy. Would we be correct in assuming that the first witness that you're talking about is actually Lt Gen Mkhwanazi, seeing as this inquiry is built on his evidence or his claims in the public domain? Would that be a good? Thank you.
right, that's one.
Okay, so one of my questions was what Karen has just asked. But secondly, given that we don't know what we're dealing with or the scope of work that the Commission will undertake, are the President's timelines realistic? The timelines of 3 and 6 months, are they realistic given that we don't know at this point what we're dealing with? Thank you.
All right, thanks. I think there was here we go.
Good afternoon, Mkhwanazi from Power FM News. My question is also on the time frame issue. So earlier today, the Office of the Presidency gave an update saying that they are implementing the recommendations of the state capture. Now, of course, state capture was established in 2018. We are now in 2025, and government is still implementing some of those recommendations. Is this a realistic timeline for the wheels of justice to turn in this particular commission? They often say justice delayed is not justice denied, but do we honestly, realistically see arrest or action happening maybe in the coming years and not even in the coming months? Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Nkosinathi. Chair, how would you like to handle that?
Regarding the first question on who is to protect witnesses that need to be protected, let me say that it's a subject that was raised with me only yesterday. It's a matter that is receiving serious consideration because of exactly the issue that you raise about can the witnesses be protected by the same people, or at least some of whom are implicated. Let me say that in the discussions that we are having, I believe that we will come up with a practical and acceptable solution. And on who the first, or rather, did you say the first witness or the witness we are going to consult with? My imminent... To the same thing. I think I should just be open with the South African public and say that the imminent consultation that I referred to is going to be with Lt General Mkhwanazi. But regarding who the first witness will be, we are not able to say at this stage. One has no idea what the consultation will lead to. So we are not able to. Yes, to people out there, and because the terms of reference refer to Lt General Mkhwanazi in so many words, the assumption will be that he just must be the first witness. Well, indications are that he may well be, but we cannot tie ourselves to a position that says, yes, he's definitely going to be the first witness. We cannot tell at this early stage. That's something that will depend on what the consultations, investigations yield. And the timelines, the 6-month period for completing the work of the commission. Let me be upfront and say, just looking at the allegations that were made on the 6th of July, they seem to cover quite a wide spectrum. And in consultations and investigations are likely to yield a lot more than what was referred to in the allegations of the 6th of July. So the timelines, I must say, do appear to be quite tight. But whether or not we will be able to finalize our work within that period, standing here, all I will say is we will do our work with the terms of reference in mind. If we do not finalize the work, well, the terms of reference do foresee that themselves, because they say we will apply for an extension if we want to. or if we get to that stage. And then the last questions, are we going to see arrests at the end of the process? If I was able to say yes, I think there would not have been a need for an inquiry at all. So I don't think I can give a categorical answer in that regard. That's the lot. Thank you.
All right. Are there any more questions? Members of the media? Going once? Going twice? It looks like we've covered it. Thank you very much for your attendance.